3:30, and time to call the Board of Elections meeting to order. I would like to welcome our audience, the folks that are with us this afternoon in person, and do we have anyone joining us online? So no one is sitting at home having great fun today with us.
To the commissioners meeting.
And I'm going to take just a moment before we roll into the meeting, because we have a very special person today that it is their birthday. And I think we should sing Happy Birthday.
Okay, open up your microphones, board. Come on.
All right, we're ready.
Happy
Birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday, dear Maggie. Happy birthday to you. That's right.
Like the rest of us.
So, board, you have the agenda in front of you. Are there any corrections, changes, or amendments to the agenda as presented to you? If not, may I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Quinn. Does not require a second. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, the agenda is approved. The minutes were circulated just a little bit late today, so we have three options actually. We can approve them as normal if you've had time to review them. We also have them on paper, and we can approve them in writing if you want to take the time to review them again, or we can defer to the next meeting and approve the minutes at the next meeting. What is the board's pleasure?
I read them. I'm okay with them.
I have not had,
I'm okay.
I have not had a chance to read them, but I could read them while and then maybe if we can defer it to later in the meeting, I can.
All right, then we will move the minutes to the end of the meeting and give
Very good.
Sally and Courtney, if you need to look over them, and then we'll vote to either approve or amend the minutes as circulated. At this time, I will turn the meeting over to Nagy, who will be doing our office updates today.
Hello. Yes, so thank you all for being here today. I have just a few updates. The reason why I am here and not Miss Corrine Duncan is because she is in Utah. She's at a mini vacation, and then she's tying that into a conference. Devin Whitney will be joining her today, and they will be attending the Sarah conference in Utah. Corrine is recertifying, and Devin is graduating, and that is a national certification program that is for certified elections registrations administrators. So we are very fortunate to have Devin be able to do that program, and he is graduating, so she will be there for that as well. And they're taking classes, so that's why you got stuck with me. Sorry. Okay.
On your birthday.
On my birthday, I know.
Say the same thing.
Yeah. She owes me. Let's just put it that way. Next thing that I would like to update you all is on the registration repair project. Amy has an update. Some good numbers, good turnout. Let's get you a microphone, maybe, so we can make sure that.
Is that working okay? Nate, you good to go?
Here. Okay.
Okay, so as we know from last time, I'm sure you memorized these numbers, that we started on July 17th. The statewide numbers were 103,000, and our Buncombe County numbers were just under 2,100. I think we were 2,089. Now, as of today, the statewide numbers are 82,740, so that's about a 20% reduction. And our county numbers are 1,403. So we went down from almost 2,100 to about 1,400, so that's almost 600, give or take a couple.
So that's about 40%.
It's pretty, yeah, don't make me do that kind of math on the spot. Yeah. The state gave me the 20% number, I didn't do that. Okay, so what's happening with the ones left on the repair list, those voters have been made inactive in the system, and it is a flag for us to continue repairing their records if it's possible. The state is putting a mailing out as of now. It's going out. I doubt it's made it to the voters yet because we haven't gotten those phone calls yet. So that's happening right now, and then hopefully those voters will be responding. And there's a new process that I helped sort of vet for inputting those numbers without disturbing our list maintenance schedule and system that's already in place. So this is a new process to correct these records. Yeah, that's what I've got, and I know the state did put out a new press release about that today.
Yes.
So,
Okay.
Questions for?
Yeah, I just had questions about the state mail out. So they are not asking the counties to do the mail out. The state's handling the whole thing.
correct, and as I understand
That's good.
it-
That's
sorry,
good.
go ahead.
No, I mean, they pay for it and it's uniform. I love it.
Right, and as I understand it, the return envelopes are to us. So whenever
Good.
folks are mailing the info in, they're not mailing it back to the Raleigh, they're mailing it to the correct counties.
Great.
That's the plan, right?
Good. I hope it works as smoothly as it sounds like it should.
Anything else?
Any other questions? Thank you.
Okay. Also, on updates, I do want to announce that we did have a resignation on our team. Justin Tate did resign effective August 15th.
Okay.
While we appreciate his contributions, I just know that we will work to fill his position as soon as possible, and hopefully we'll have someone in here and that can continue to run the absentee program. But in the meantime, we do have and plan in place to fill in those gaps so we can continue to do the work that he did. And we have some seasonal staff also that's going to be helping us. And so we have a small election coming up. And so the volume is just not going to be there. So we're confident we will be able to handle it internally with just us, with a few seasonal staff. But otherwise, we will bring someone in because we need them for the primary. So we will be vetting and looking for a new person.
I don't know. There was something in the news about, maybe no mail-in voting.
Well, no comment.
That's it. All I know is what I read.
So, yes, ma'am.
How is that position filled?
So that position, we posted like normal through
Through HR?
Through HR, yes. HR will be guiding us through this entire process. They'll help us with the job description. We'll post it online. It'll go on the website, and then we also go ahead and do it in elections-related websites. Get it out there in big websites out there that do job searches. So try to get the word out. We'll give it a few weeks, and then we do the screening, we do the interviewing, and we do the hiring. So it'll all be a team effort, Corrine, myself, and we'll be doing this together. So,
Thank you.
yeah. Thank you. And then lastly, I just want to remind everyone that Labor Day is coming up. So that's September 1st, Monday, September 1st, and all county offices, including ours, will be closed for the holiday. So we will have a long weekend. Looking forward to that one. Okay, that's all the updates that I have.
All right, we have voting location changes, so Maggie, if you want to
Yeah, so
share what we have with
sure.
those.
So we do have some voting location changes. This is strictly just for the municipal election. And what we are asking the board is to consider transferring two precincts to other precincts. So combining two precincts together. And so we technically have 11 precincts, and we're going to combine two of those. So that'll, and so Ryan is going to discuss what that entails, what the moves are, and also provides a little bit of background. This is something we've done for many years, and the reason he'll give all that information. So up to you, Ryan.
Yeah, sure. Well, first of all, it's good to see you all again. We do have 11 locations coming up for the municipal elections. And there are two precincts represented in those locations concerning Woodfin. And they both have a low number of eligible voters, and they both have a low historical turnout among those voters. So it just kind of makes fiscal sense to have those voters transferred over to an adjacent precinct, and it prevents like a group of poll workers working that precinct all day and only having maybe 2 or 3 voters. But anyway, those two precincts, the first one, it's at 28.1, that is Covenant Reformed Presbyterian Church. This is for the Woodland Sanitary Water and Sewer District, and they have 247 eligible voters. And just to give you an idea, back in 2021, no voters turned out from that precinct. And in 2023, we had one turnout. So that we're proposing to have it moved to the adjacent precinct, which is St. Eugene's Church. And the second one is.
What's the
going to be-
precinct number for the St.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Eugene's?
The one we're proposing transferring them to is St. Eugene Church, precinct number 511.
And all of y'all have copies of the resolution, which has it and the address on it, if you want.
Yeah, that's right.
Perfect.
Yep.
Thank you.
The second one is for the town of Woodfin, the French Broad Fire Station, 41.1. We would be transferring a number of 52 eligible voters over to Irwin High School, 69.1. And just to give you the history on that, in 2021, they had a voter turnout of 1, and then in 2023, there was a voter turnout of 2.
Mm.
So that's the
Yeah.
Wow.
Can you tell us about how far away they
Sure.
will drive?
Yeah, the first one I discussed, Covenant Reform, Presbyterian Church, 28.1, and transferring them to St. Eugene's Church, 5.1. That'd be about a 5-minute drive. Covenant Reformed Presbyterian Church, that's like right across the street from that North Asheville Tailgate Market, and St. Eugene's Church would just be right up Merriman behind.
Behind Ingalls.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know where that is.
And the French Broad Fire Department up in Alexander, that small number of voters would be going down to Irwin High School. It's a little bit further of a drive, probably 10 to 15 minutes, I'm not exactly sure.
So that would, for those 2 or 5 or whatever number it would be, that would be an inconvenience for sure, but.
Yeah, that would be a little bit more of a drive, but they would be notified beforehand. A mailing would be generated going
Sure.
out to the
Right.
small number of eligible voters.
And they'd still have the opportunity to take advantage of the early voting at the Weaverville Community Center on the Saturday before.
And absentee by mail.
And absentee by mail.
All right, any further questions by the board?
No,
Any changes or amendments? I think, obviously, it's hard enough to staff for these sites, but to take away the ability for our volunteers to be able to be in a facility where they're actually working with
Right,
voters.
right.
It just makes more sense to make better use of their time and their abilities, but still trying to make sure that our voters have access.
Right.
And as Jake shared, they can always early vote.
They can, and I'll tell you, a situation like this, I mean, the voting patterns that Ryan just described means more work for staff as well after the election. Because if you have only one person in a particular precinct vote in the election, it would be really easy to find out exactly how that person voted because we disclose this stuff on a precinct by precinct basis. So we end up having to aggregate it with another precinct just to maintain the privacy for the voter.
Yeah.
It's,
That's a good point.
yeah, it's really important that we do that. When you have only one or two, yeah, that's, so, thanks for this, but I move that we approve the shift in the voting locations for precincts 28.1 and 41.1 as recommended by staff.
Okay. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Right, thank you, Ryan.
We just need your signature. Thank you.
All right. Board calendar, AK.
Hi, it's me again.
Margaret.
So, there's another draft of the board calendar in front of you if you wanted to follow along, although I say follow along. The differences from the last time are that I took away the meeting that passed in today's meeting since you didn't really need to vote on today's meeting. And then I made the changes. So we've got the Thursday, September 4th meeting at 3:30, the Wednesday, September 24th meeting at 3:30, and then everything else stayed the same because y'all didn't have any notes about that.
Okay, I have a question, not about our meetings, but about the Board of Commissioners.
Uh-huh.
I went over to the commissioners' briefing this afternoon to hear about the facilities, and our meeting started. I had to leave before they started a discussion of facilities. But it reminded me that it would be worthwhile if on occasion we were not meeting at the same time as the commissioners. And I'm wondering if anyone can tell me what their standard schedule looks like. I mean, today is the third
Yeah, I
Tuesday?
believe they,
Tuesday.
So they first and third Tuesday?
Yep.
Okay. Then I'm suddenly a fan of second and fourth Tuesdays for us. And the reason I say that is, I mean, with facilities, I think that we're going to be dealing with the commissioners more than anybody else. And I think it would just be worthwhile for us to be able to attend the meetings and find out what they're discussing. As it is, I plan to watch a video of this briefing on facilities.
Yeah.
But I'm really, really curious because with any luck, they're talking about Board of Elections. And I just want to know what it is. So if when we're looking at our I realize that in October, we got to meet every Tuesday
Yeah.
because there's an election going on. But aside from that, if we can just keep it in mind when we put together our calendar, if the commissioners meet and we don't, that would be a good thing. It would also give the commissioners, on occasion, the opportunity to attend one of our meetings. So,
well, I mean, we can definitely keep that in mind. The good thing is both the September 4th and the September 24th, y'all decided not to meet on Tuesdays, so that won't
Yeah, right.
affect for September. And then, like you said, October are
October, yeah.
those.
So I guess we're skinning this cat after the election.
Right.
Yes.
Mhm. But I can definitely take a look at because I've been drafting the 2026
just-
calendar. I can take a look at that calendar
Yeah.
and see if there's
Thank
a
you.
way to adjust any of those.
Thank you very much.
You need an approval of this, KK?
Yes. Yes, for the 2025.
So with the information Mr. Quinn has shared duly noted,
Hmm.
as we move forward, is there a motion to approve the calendar as presented today?
I'll move to approve the calendar as presented today.
Thanks, Sally. May I have a second, please? Mr. Quinn? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Moving right along.
All right. Thank
So
you.
this is now an official calendar.
This is now the official
For
calendar.
2025.
Mark
Yep.
out draft.
2025 approved. Great. And then we'll come back and explore 2026 some more. Okay.
More.
Yes. All right. So yes, it's back to me. I am going to be presenting to you all today the proposed implementation plan for the early voting schedule that is for the primary in 2026. So before we get started, I do have some materials to give you all, and then I also have a PowerPoint so that our audience can follow along what I am talking about. And
Get out of the way.
This is great.
3039.
Yeah, thanks, Jake.
Yeah, no, this is,
Shove me down here.
this is, hey, not my doing, but I can see this. This is amazing.
Okay.
Hi, Brita.
So Nate's getting us connected to the PowerPoint and displaying it, so we'll get that. But there we go. Okay. And just for a little bit of background, I just want to, because we have some new board members, I just want to let you all know that, typically we come to you all, the board, weeks in advance, months, sometimes even months in advance, to discuss what we're proposing for early voting at the next election. The packet that you were given just gives you some background information, some historical data, what we've done, turnout numbers, and then towards the back, towards the end is what we're proposing with the sites and all that kind of information as well, and our schedule and all of that. But, trying to fix that, yeah. Good, thank you. Thank you, Nate. Okay. All right, so on our next slide, we're going to talk about the timeline. So we've got some weeks here that we can talk about this plan, evaluate it, get feedback. If you all want me to research, if you all want me to look at other things, if we want to go a different direction, we've got time built into this that we can certainly do that. So obviously today I am giving you all the proposed plan. Presented to you all at the initial proposed plan. No action needs to be taken today. There's no voting. There's nothing that needs to be decided on today. This is just making you all aware, and obviously the public. Tomorrow we are going to open up our survey to the public at 8 o'clock. So there will be a public input survey opening at 8 o'clock tomorrow. And I have the website here at the bottom, but it's going to be also on our website. You can link to it. And that is where we're just asking a few questions of the public. Hey, do you like this plan? Is there anything you want to change about it? What is it that you don't like? What things would you prefer? Just very quick questions for the public to give us. Then I will come back. The survey will close on September 26th. For then, and then we will come back on October 7th at our October 7th meeting, and we'll review what we have gotten so far. What has the public said to us? What other information we've gathered? And so it'll give us the time for us to review. And then finally, on October 14th is the date that we're hoping you all will then do a final review and take a vote. Now, is this set in stone? Absolutely not. We still have time that if we need to continue looking, searching, discussing, we can certainly do that. But this is the proposed timeline, but there's definitely flexibility built in it depending on what way you want to go. So just so we all understand our current mandates, in the next slide. Here we go. So we're aware, early voting starts very, very early for the primary. It's February 12th through the 28th. That's 2.5 weeks. We are mandated to open Monday through Friday from 8 to 7:30 p.m. That is the same across the entire state. So that is what all early voting sites will be doing in every 100 counties. The last Saturday of early voting, that's that February 28th date, we are mandated to open at 8 and close at 3. So again, all 100 counties are doing the exact same thing. And we are required to make sure that we have uniform days and hours for all sites. So that includes the weekends, and that is where you all will have the flexibility to give some hour considerations. In the next slide, kind of led to that a little bit. You all, the board, will decide the number of sites that we open in Buncombe County. You all will also decide the hours for the weekends. What day? Saturday, Sunday, first weekend, second weekend, you all decide that. And the last thing that you all do need to know is that it does need to be a unanimous decision. So this is one of the few where it's very specific that the board does need to make a unanimous decision. If you all do not make a unanimous decision, then we have to take the two plans or whatever we're proposing to the state board for consideration, and they make the final decision on our behalf. So just be aware of that it is required to have unanimity. Okay, in the next slide, this is just a big overview of what we consider when we're looking at the different sites and numbers and all of that. We look at data. Data's a big push. What did we do in the previous last 2 elections? What was the turnout? What were the number of sites? What do the registered voters look like? We look at suitability, ADA compliant, you know, has to be ADA compliant. Parking, convenience to voters, square footage, stability, budget. We have to look at all those. In addition to that, we also look at, our capacity, staff, facilities, available equipment, current laws, number of memos, and then of course we do want the public to give us input. So these are all the things that we consider, and we'll continue to consider as we finalize this plan later on in October.
Are these for us to add to if we want to? These plan considerations, for instance? I was thinking about what happened the last time when Mr. Aceto brought up something pretty important about.
Absolutely.
About, I see convenience to voters, and we had talked a lot about that area down in southwestern part of the county.
Well, we approved that site, and I was wondering where that went.
Well,
Upper Hominy?
yeah, so the question is, should it be a plan consideration? Should we somehow or other, I don't know how we would say that out loud, what the bullet point would be.
Right.
It's not just convenience to voters, it's also capacity for the entire county to have access. I don't know, it feels a little different than what he was looking at when we made that shift, so.
Right. Yeah. So I do want to point out that for when we do have presidential primaries and presidential elections, we go big, and so we budget higher. We bring in more workers. We go big. For a primary midterm election, we typically have done 8 sites. We've done 10 sites, but we have budgeted up to 11 sites. So this board can decide to go an additional. Now, you all did bring up the point about going out to some of those corners of the county, and that's something we did consider in 2024. In 2024, we only budgeted for 14 sites for the general. So, but we knew that there were some gaps, and so this board did decide and did explore going to like Barnersville, which is in the northeast. We also looked at a gap in the southwest part, and so we also looked at Upper Hominy.
Maybe it's about gap evaluation.
Gap evaluation or something, yeah,
Somehow put
yeah.
that in there that we continue to
Right.
ongoing look at.
Right.
It's not just convenience
yeah.
to voters, it's also
Yeah.
about where there might be some.
Right, and also, it also, who can host us and what's out there in those areas.
Sure.
So, which is,
Yeah.
unfortunately, because it is more rural,
Oh, yeah.
it is
Definitely.
a bigger challenge
Yeah.
for someone to commit to 2.5 weeks exclusive use
Yeah.
of their space.
No, I just wanted to
Yeah.
have it sort of in a planned consideration.
Plan
That's all.
consideration,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay.
We can certainly make
Well,
sure that
I
that's.
agree, because we had discussed last time the fact that we have, areas of the people that live in the county have a long distance to drive if they want to do early voting.
Right.
Whereas in the city, even with a smaller number of sites, you can drive across town and pass 3 sites.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas on the county, you might have to drive 20 miles just to get to one. And it seems like we should be looking at the ability of all voters
So
to get to,
convenience to voters just make sure that as part of convenience to voters, we're looking at.
At the gap.
Yeah, the gaps. Yeah.
Yep.
and I'd be interested in both of those areas you mentioned.
Do we have that slide maybe?
I do not have that, but in your packet, let's see, I'm trying to think if I have that. There's a couple of maps in here that you can look at to kind of see what we're looking at. But, which I'll also show what we did in 2022.
I just was gonna make a note
Yeah.
of-
Yeah, so in the next slide, you'll see that's the 2022 primary election. This is what we did in 2022. We bumped it up from 8 sites previously to 10. And we brought in the Lester community and the Fairview community. Those were typically ones that we just didn't offer. So we added those, and then that brought us up to 10. So what we have found is that most people do typically vote where they live. They're not gonna go across, unless they work in that area, they're gonna usually typically vote where they live. And so, people that live in Fairview are gonna vote in Fairview. People that live in Leicester, they're gonna vote in Leicester. We just see that. So, but, so this kind of captures some of that information on here. Again, you can see that, we have several in the city of Asheville limits, and then we've all tried to also go out to those additional municipalities, the Black Mountain, the Fairview area, the Leicester area. But there's certainly room for more, if that's
Okay,
where
I
we
know
want to
we
go.
approved of how many last time, obviously.
Correct.
Helene,
Correct.
entered
So,
into that
yeah,
one,
so in
but-
2024, we did approve, we were hoping to get something in Barnersville, and we also, we had the opportunity to use the Jupiter Fire Department and the Upper Hominy. Unfortunately, because of Helene,
Right.
those sites became, the fire stations became critical, you know, for for deploying supplies, and they became, so we elected, well, we all elected not to use those, and so we ended up not using those particular sites.
Correct.
I do want to say that in Barnersville, we're very limited. Big Ivy Community Center weeks. They do have a food pantry program out there. They do it twice a week, and they felt that they couldn't give up the space exclusively for our use during that time. Whether that has changed, I'm not sure, but we can certainly reach out to them again.
Do we have a fire department in that area?
Does the fire department have a community room?
I do not know. That's something we would need to ask.
They can't give up their base and.
Right, we would have to be-
But I
right.
don't know if they have a community room,
Mhm.
but it is a fairly new facility.
Okay.
It's actually on the same road as the Big Ivy Community Center.
Okay. I can certainly, that's up for research, and I can come back and let you all know. If that's something that's available. And if you also want me to look at Upper Hominy, I can certainly do that. Just do know that, we budgeted for 11 sites. So some choices will have to be made, tough choices.
Right, it makes a place like Barnersville hard to cost
Hard to-
justify.
Sure.
Yes.
I mean, you just won't have enough voters.
Yeah, so. Okay, but I can
Have we
certainly.
actually had one in that location in previous years?
In the early voting?
Since I have been here, no.
No, not.
Not
we've-
that I'm
we've
aware
never
of.
done it
Historic
there for
data.
We've
early
never,
voting.
no.
We've never, no, all you have to do is look at turnout by precinct and look at once upon a time, you had a really cool voter density map that just shows, it's just a map of Buncombe County, and it's colored in, the darker the color, the more voters. And you can see as you go out to the corners of the county, that you get out to the edge of the county, the density diminishes dramatically.
Yeah, I believe I do have it on the PowerPoint, and I do have a density map in your packet on page 14.
Okay, oh, good.
Page 14, yeah.
Teach me for not reading all the way through the packet. Thank you, Nagy.
But yeah, that displays really good, and we'll get to that one on here as well.
Thank you. That's
Um,
incredibly handy.
yeah. The next slide is just turnout trends for primaries. That this includes, presidential too, and as you can see, it's pretty high when during a presidential year. Primary, we see our highest turnout during a primary. But in this particular map, you can see in 2018 and 2022, which would be our two most comparable elections. The numbers are kind of steady. They drop off a little bit, and then they jump right back up towards the end of election, towards the last day. We've seen some steady increases, but it's still not nearly what a presidential year usually results in, but just comparison.
It's a pretty significant increase from 18 to 22.
Well, what
22,
happened
yes.
in 2018? I mean, those numbers are horrible.
I don't know, yeah. It's, yeah.
Anybody remember what
2022
happened in
is
2018? I
comparable to
mean,
2024.
the numbers we're putting up here are just really, really low.
Yeah,
And
we
it's
only
not
had
as if it-
9,000 people early vote in 2018. Yeah, I don't know what happened that year. But
Nobody
we
was
definitely made
interested.
up for it in 2022. We
Yeah,
jumped.
yeah.
Absolutely right. We jumped to 24,000. So, and I expect us to see another increase. Yeah. That's also in your packet with historical trends.
Yeah, I think the most valuable information from the chart is the demonstration that in a primary election, voters wait until later in the early voting process. And in a general election, we see
vote
them
early.
as soon as the doors open on that first Thursday, they go.
Minds are made up.
Whereas
Yeah.
in primary, they're still getting information, still talking with their friends,
Right.
neighbors, family. So.
Yeah. Lots of choices. It makes sense people to kind of wait. I'm not sure. Let me wait. Let's see what's happening. Yeah. So we will see a typical increase towards the last few days of early voting, and then that last Saturday, of course, we usually see some lines as well when
Yeah.
on that day as well. It is less hours, so obviously we're seeing more people in a shorter amount of time, but definitely see an increase. So in the next one, this is what I'm proposing. Again, the word is proposal. It's not set in stone. But we are proposing 10 early voting sites. I am proposing the second weekend of that 2.5 weeks for us to be open. So there's Saturday, February 21st. There's also the option to open Sunday, February 22nd. And then I am also proposing the weekend hours of 10 to 3. This is what we've been doing for the last several elections. It has worked very well for our shift. Having to just have one shift, it allows people to take time off, and it gives, it just has worked out fairly well. Again, we're seeing that increase towards the last week. This will give us a nice little extra time for people to come and vote during that weekend. But again, this board makes that final decision. We can do the other weekend, we can change it, whatever. It doesn't, Yes, sir.
President's Day is on Monday, February 16th. We vote on that day.
Yes, we do.
Okay, so we're open
We are
on
open.
President's Day.
Yes.
But I like what you're putting out here in terms of not doing early voting that first weekend.
Yeah.
That gives staff an opportunity to reality check everything that happened the first couple of days.
Yes. So,
But also, that weekend is, Saturday is Valentine's Day and Monday is President's Day. So that argues for not doing.
Yeah.
It's a holiday weekend.
yes,
So
so we can
argues for not
probably
doing
see
voting.
less turnout will definitely decrease during,
Okay.
for those reasons. Absolutely.
And what site are then we removing from what we had in our presidential primary? I mean, our presidential, early voting sites? We had 11 then, right? Which site? are
Well, we actually opened 10
10.
this past
Mm.
fall, but we had
We're supposed to have
scheduled 14.
14, yeah.
So, okay. So how'd you come up with 10? I guess is the question. Was it some of those 14 that we originally scheduled for?
Either weren't available or just we looked at the turnout and then of course, where
So
can
part
we
of
get our,
that
where can we
plan
get our biggest
consideration.
bang for our buck?
Okay.
Is also something that, what do those turnout numbers look like?
Okay.
Yep.
I don't see North Asheville on the map.
No, you see a big,
To be
Oval.
determined.
Good old team.
Okay.
So,
It's
yeah,
always
on the
one.
next
Yeah.
slide, if we go to the next slide, so there are the 9 that are confirmed. Number 6 is the North Asheville location, which is always,
A treat.
yes, a
Yeah.
challenge. Because there's not a lot of available places there that are adequate, large community rooms,
they're there, they just won't let us use them.
and then there's some that just that won't let us use, right? Which I think some of the audience can remember Steinmart and and all those that are. It's right there. It's been sitting empty for years, and I've been trying since 2016 unsuccessfully to try to get us in there. Unfortunately, but willing to keep trying.
Well,
Maybe they'll finally.
I think part of the value
Yeah.
of you tackling this so early
Mm-hmm.
and putting it out in public space is it's letting the community know, hey, we're looking for a place in North Asheville.
Yeah.
And, you're putting it on the county website. I mean, it's widely available, and I hope that everyone who's interested in seeing a North Asheville early voting site set up, talks about it. Talk about it with folks in the community. Talk about with your friends, neighbors. Anybody in real estate business, talk to them about this. We really need it.
Yes.
We-
And that
we
is a
get
question on
huge
the
amount of
survey.
activity.
That is one of the questions on the survey. We're saying, we are looking for a North Asheville location. Please give us some feedback. Give us some leads. Tell us what you think. Tell us, who. And we've got some great people out there that can provide us with some additional information. So we're willing to explore anything and everything. So.
And Aggie, when will we review this again? When will we review this again?
Well, October 7th will be the public input review time for you all to look and see, and then October 14th is when we're proposing we do the final vote.
Okay, but between October 7th and 14th, is there time as far as adding site?
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Absolutely.
okay. It just seemed
so.
like a kind of a tight squeeze there, so.
What's the state's deadline?
So I don't have a deadline yet. They don't even.
That's right.
that-
So
yeah.
you are so far ahead of the curve on
yes.
this.
Yes. Typically, it's usually in mid to late November is what
Yeah.
I've seen. Maybe sometimes even early December. So
this is
we're
great.
way ahead of the game.
Thank you
here.
so
we
much.
I feel confident that we will be able to come up with a good plan, good compromise, and good sites. So, and again, the October 14th deadline. That's what we're proposing as your fine. But we have some more room in there.
Okay.
I think in 2024. For the general, we waited. We gave ourselves a little bit extra time or something,
Yeah,
just so
yeah.
we had time. I think we've done it before. We can do it again.
Well,
So.
and then we got the hurricane as a thank you for
Yeah,
that.
and then everything all that planning went to where. We had to start from scratch. But I am proposing that if we're unable to secure an adequate location in North Asheville, then we default to the North Asheville Library. We know that's not ideal. We know that parking is awful. The room's tiny. But it's there. It's available. They can, and we can certainly make some concessions. Like, poll workers, we could have them park somewhere else so they don't take up the space. In the past, we've even had the library workers park somewhere else to free up some of that space. Reach out to the parties, campaigners, don't park there, that kind of stuff. Just some common sense stuff that hopefully they can follow. And hopefully that'll help. But I know it's not ideal. It's just not. But anyways, so but again, this timeline is very flexible. In the next slide, I do want to, inclement weather is going to be an issue in February, as unfortunately. Proposed sites, this is the density map, sorry.
Yeah.
Got ahead of myself. So this is the density map that Jake was talking about, where you can see that heavy gray and yellow is where the highest concentration of voters in our county, or population. And so we're hoping that we've targeted most of those areas with the number of sites and where we've got them
Nagy,
spread
are
out.
those registered voters, or are they just people that have voted in the past?
Showing address density, it's just address points that we have for people who are registered, not that they voted in the
Registered.
past.
Oh,
Just
registered.
registered voters, yeah,
Okay.
density, yeah. And this is something that Devin can do for us because he's our map wizard.
Just kind of historically, it'd be interesting for Devin, if it's not too much trouble, to see how this might have shifted in the last 4 to 6 years, density-wise. What is happening in our county that we do want to make sure we're following those
yeah.
trends, and I don't know if you can pull that up from other
I
years, or-
believe I will ask.
Because it might also inform us about what the future holds. So,
That is certainly something that I can bring back, and you all can see, hey, look at what it was 4 years ago, or whatever. If we can, he can do that. He may have already done those types of maps already.
got a feeling.
We can just bring it
Yeah.
in, yeah. Okay. Great suggestion. Now, inclement weather. So, obviously in February we're gonna have, you know, the possibility of snow, sleet, ice, all the works. And so in the past, what we've done is, and the previous board did pass a resolution, and we're proposing we follow that same resolution that was passed in 2024. That we basically, if the county public offices or libraries close or delay opening, we follow their directive. Obviously, county uses, you know, emergency services. They're monitoring the roads. They know the weather, and so they know when it's going to be really bad and when we shouldn't be out there. So that is what we're proposing we do. Of course, we would communicate delays and closings through our PR team, you know, however, our website, news outlets, we would get it out there. And what we're also proposing, if we do partial closure, so maybe we, you know, then that would be something that this board would decide if we don't go with the county's directive or we need to close. So, that was a resolution that was passed, and we're proposing that we continue to use that same resolution. It has worked well for us. It makes it nice and clear. We know what we need. We know what needs to happen, and we can then guide our workers. They know what to expect. They know what would happen if we delay, and then it just makes it nice and clear. And there's no, well, are we not, that kind of stuff. We know what we're going to follow, and this is what we're following. Okay, and then, so lastly, just a quick overview again of what we're proposing. 10 early voting sites, weekdays, we're gonna do the 8 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. Monday through Friday. We're proposing the second weekend of early voting to open 10 to 3, and then the last Saturday, of course, we will all be open from 8 to 3 as well. So that is what I have. I also do, in the next slide, I do want to give everyone a little bit of a heads up for the general. It is coming, and so looking ahead, I do think that we need, I would like for you all to be aware of that we're gonna have to do something different than what we've been doing in the past. Some of the sites that we used, we just cannot use during a general election again. The parking situation was the Wild Wild West in some of our sites. You know, we had, you know, neighboring tenants that weren't happy us being there. There was, you know, we had to bring out a monitor, parking monitors. We had to, and so I am predicting, you know, for the midterm into general, we're gonna have high turnout. I'm expecting that. And so with that said, we're going to have to look at larger sites with better parking, more capacity for voters to park. So that more than likely will eliminate some of the sites that we've been using for the last few years because of the need for bigger capacity. We've already started looking at some possible places that could hopefully maybe host us, like AB Tech. The Inca Candler campus, the actual campus, you know, I'm willing to look anywhere and everywhere for some, you know, out of the box places. Just because we need to be able to serve our voters, and our workers need to be able to serve the voters, and we need to have the capacity to do so. And some of our sites just simply are too limiting in that aspect, and we want to be able to be safe. We want to be able to keep people hopefully happy. And we don't need Wild Wild West out in the parking lot. So I just giving you a heads up that, you know, this is where we're heading. This is where I'm heading. Where can I go? Where can we go that has more parking, better capacity to serve the voters of Buncombe County? What we've been doing, unfortunately, during the general election doesn't work anymore.
A tent is not an option, is it?
No, we're gonna bump it up.
It has to be an enclosed building.
Yeah,
We just have to keep looking.
we.
Because parking is crucial. It's
Yeah,
miserable
parking
when
is
you can't
crucial,
find a
but I
place to
mean,
park.
security, you know, we'd have to have heat, you know, so electricity.
Oh, that tent
FEMA
we
tent
used
was-
last
That FEMA
November
tent was really nice.
was really good.
Yes, it was. It had electricity, it had heat.
Got the photos right here. There was a lot of parking too. A little
And-
muddy, but there was a lot of parking.
Yeah, so, hey, I'm willing to do that too.
Everything was
And that
muddy
was,
then.
that's a space
The
that
only-
could be rented.
The only place I can think of up in North Asheville would be in a parking lot for a grocery store. But you can't put a tent up in the parking lot because it's not secure enough. So maybe the grocery stores would give us a room, a small room. Because there's always
I'm
plenty of
willing to-
parking there.
Yeah,
I just,
to explore.
we, for several years, we've tried that option in North Asheville, because there is space. It's just simply not being made available at this point.
Yeah, I see.
And in fact, when Nagy just brought that back up, I text our prospective person and just said, can we have, asking the same questions. We're exploring Inca, the Ibby Tech site at Inca,
Yeah.
because the Inca library is very
Yes.
challenging
Yes. It
is.
space-wise, and the tenants are not very pleasant to deal with. So we're reaching and trying, but yes, wisely said, it's just a matter of getting either the landlord or the realtor or whomever is involved to
Well,
allow us the option
Well,
to
the
do
bigger
it.
places would be churches, and it's hard for them
Give up
to
space
have
for
the space for that length of time.
Yeah, 2.5 weeks is a long time.
2.5 weeks, yeah.
And we have another, in fact, a church that we'll reach back out to in North Asheville, but
Okay.
so far, to date, they haven't been willing to allow us to do
If
it.
anyone has an in with the Ingalls family, honest to goodness, that is all we need. And then we can use the old Steinmart.
They
That's-
own the property.
it?
Yes.
They do.
Yeah.
They do.
Well, that's who I,
Have we tried,
Oh,
that's who I just reached out to.
We have tried. We have tried.
So we'll see, if I don't get the answer
Squeaky
from
wheel, you know.
this person, then we'll actually go to the Engel family.
Anyway, the good news is we've got a lot of time
Yes.
to tackle
Absolutely.
this, and I really appreciate
Yeah, absolutely.
Ms. Fox and staff
We've got plenty of time.
setting us up for success here.
Yeah. So when we come back and we talk about this again on the 7th of October, I'll bring back some more additional options for you all. And I'll bring back the public feedback for you all to consider.
Is that up now?
It will be open tomorrow at 8 o'clock.
Tomorrow at 8 o'clock, okay.
Tomorrow at 8 o'clock, the survey will be open, and it's open all the way through the 20-something. I cannot remember now. I think it's the 26th. It's on a Friday. That'll give me time to review everything and come up with a summary, and then you all, be ready for the board meeting.
That would be the 26th.
Yeah, the
Friday.
26th, Friday the 26th. It closes at 5 o'clock, so several weeks it's gonna be open for people to give us some info, help us out. Would love to get all that. So that's all I have for early voting.
Thank you, Nagy.
Thank
Any further
you.
questions for Nagy at this time? All right.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate all your hard work and the update.
Okay.
Greatly appreciated.
Yes, all right.
My friend Karen, I
Yeah,
believe
so-
it is now your turn.
Yep,
Yes,
so
ma'am.
we're talking about appointment of precinct judges. I would like to just extend a thank you to the party chairs for their hard work and efforts. It was very rewarding to get names and all that they did. During that, it's a lot of work. And as Karen will attest to it.
Both of them are here today.
So
I
thank
just
you.
want to recognize Kristen Robinson, Roger Cup is here.
Thank you.
And also Jenny King is here, who's done a tremendous amount of work behind the scenes. So
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you all for, thank you.
The process for the 2-year appointments begins with the parties. They send in their recommendations for people to be a chief judge and to be a party judge. Those names are gathered at our office, and then it's my job to go through and put together nominations for the board. And before I hand out those sheets to you, I just wanted to take a moment to sort of explain how I go about deciding who's going to get what slot. There are certain judges that have worked for us for years, and their names have almost become synonymous with a particular precinct. I mean, if I see Terry Gentile at the nail salon, she's the chief judge for 6.1. And if I see John Sykers at the airport lounge, that's the chief judge for 7.1. I mean, those people have worked for us for years, They're super dependable, and they also do a terrific job. We know that we can really count on them. So the first thing that I like to do when I get those two sets of data from the parties is go through and identify those particular chief judges and give them the slot that they want. We certainly want to do everything we can to keep them happy. The next thing is to go through then and look and see if there are people nominated for the remaining precincts. That's the majority of the precincts. And if only one party has put forward a name, then that person will be contacted. I like to check that they have worked for us before, because experience as a chief judge is really very important. They know the lay of the land, they know the process, and they are more likely to be able to be organized and efficient about it. I also check to see where they live, because the statute has a preference for people working in precincts. So I like to check and see if that is a match. If we have a recommendation from both parties to be chief judge, then I will look to see who's got the most experience, to see who's worked for us in the past, even if just as an assistant. Then that is a better choice for the precinct than a person who hasn't worked before. My preference would be that new person should work as an assistant or a party judge and learn the ropes one time. In some cases, where we've had numerous people nominated for the same precinct, there are some precincts that are just really popular and they have a lot of people that want to be chief judge or party judge. I will call those people up. I use the party chair's priority. So the party chairs will give me a 1, 2, 3 on their sheet and tell me who they like first, second, and third. So I'll choose the first person on the list will be in their home precinct, and then if there are choices, number 2, number 3, phone them up and ask them, are you willing to move? Are you willing to work with a nearby precinct? And for the most part, people are willing to do that. So, party judge is pretty straightforward because they can only be from one party, so they don't have to have competing recommendations. If a person was nominated as a chief judge and they were not selected, I automatically put them as the party judge. So that's the first step. And then just go down the list, phoning people, emailing people, making sure that they're aware of the 2 dates next year, and making sure that they understand that they would have to work the whole day. It's not shift work. And making sure that they are comfortable using a laptop, because that is a very important part of the job. So, of the hundreds of names that we got, I have selected a group that you're going to look at next. And I do want you to know that every person on that list has been contacted. Every person has told me they're willing to do the job and they're available to do the job. So we hope that that means that they will actually be available to do it, because we know attrition has been a problem for us in the past with people just not being available. Hopefully this time everybody is going to be able to step up. And the legend is probably fairly self-explanatory. Blue is Democrat, red is Republican, and beige is unaffiliated.
Asterisk mean?
The asterisk is just my way of noting that they confirmed, so all of them should have.
They don't, we don't have, and we know that from your description that all the chief judges will have worked another,
At another time,
Right.
there are 3 or 4 chief judges who have not worked before. They have all asked me if they could work this municipal election,
To get-
small election, to gain experience. And in all cases, I asked the person who is nominated for that precinct, are you willing to support the idea of somebody taking over for the municipal? And all of them have said yes.
okay.
Because obviously there's only 9 precincts where we need a chief judge, so These new people will work in the municipal election, get their feet wet, learn the ropes.
Thank you. That's invaluable. It's just one more example of staff doing what needs to be done to make our elections go as smoothly as possible. I just appreciate it so much.
I have a question, Carrie.
Yes.
How many out-of-precinct judges do we have?
How many out of precinct? I think there are about 12, 14, something like that.
Okay. And have we actually used all of the people that the parties recommended?
We definitely have not used all of the people from the from the Democratic list. It was too big. I mean, we
Mhm.
got many more than we needed. From the Republican side, there are 8 people who I have not assigned. I can't use names, but I can
Yeah.
tell you circumstances.
Yeah.
2 people are from a precinct where 3 people were nominated to be the Republican Party judge. The first person on the list was given that position. The other 2 people said they did not want to work at another precinct. So they're not on here. They will be asked to be assistants. 3 people told me when I called them that they did not wish to work. They didn't wish to work the long day. They didn't wish to work election day, etc. And 2 people, this is something that we discussed with Dr. Weinert, that there are 2 people who I feel were not a good fit, that they probably shouldn't have been nominated to work for election day, and so I did not include those 2 names.
To skill level and what, or what
I'd
does that
say
mean?
one was probably a medical
Okay.
situation,
Uh-huh.
and one was more of a personality
Okay.
issue. And one person asked if she could be an assistant, not a party judge. So she would be working, but not as a party judge.
Okay.
That update. I wasn't keeping track of that, so.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Any further questions, board?
I just want to confirm that the cells that are colored in, in amber, whatever it is, those are unaffiliated registrants?
Yes.
That's
And so
good.
some of your unaffiliated people were put forward by the Republican Party,
Sure.
and some of them were put forward by the Democratic Party. I haven't indicated that on there, but I do have that information.
I'm just gratified to see unaffiliateds represented on the roster.
And we have till what date to fill in all the vacant spots?
Probably
Exactly.
up until training, until we start training people for
And
the
what-
primary election.
what is
They
that
won't
date?
have a 2-year appointment, though. That is done today.
That's
Right.
done today.
So this is the 2-year appointments. Those people will not be asked to move to a different precinct, or step down or step up or anything. These are set.
Well,
unless they run.
that could change though if they're out of precinct, because they can be replaced midterm.
The 2-year appointments, I believe, are 2-year appointments.
I don't think I think the statute says if they're out of precinct, then they could, if you find someone that's in precinct,
Yeah.
so.
And then we still have the opportunity for the board to vote on the rest of the vacancies, but that's not the 2-year appointment, that's election by election.
Right.
For the municipal election, we amply can staff from this list, because we're only looking for about 30 people to work. And as I mentioned, a number of people haven't worked before and they want to work.
That's good.
And so we will not have a problem staffing the municipal election. For the primary, you'll see that we've got some vacant slots, and as I get names, I'll probably continue to hold those until we get closer to the election, and then bring it to the board again with your complete list at that point. So
What date
because
does training start? I'm sorry.
Training for the primary election is in February, so we've got until February to get names of people into slots. The names can come, I can find people, because they might come to me independently and just phone up the office, or they might contact me. But the 2 parties are also welcome to submit names as they find them, so.
That was my question, because as the vacancies are here, the parties, as appropriate to either either party judge could fill the vacancies if names were made
Submitted.
available and then shared with
Right.
Karen.
And actually, I did get one. I got one from both parties. After the deadline to receive for the nomination process, I got one from the Republican Party, one from the Democratic Party. So I've got those names already.
Okay.
They can either be backups if we don't need them for that particular precinct, or of course, if they will work one of these vacancies that we have, then they'll be automatically slotted in. So.
Well, with both party chairs here, and obviously the vacancies and the information is being shared so that there's time, not for the appointments that we make today, but for the vacancies that are represented.
To fill in the spots.
So,
I was kind of wondering about the independent, that Jake was,
Unaffiliated?
I'm sorry, the unaffiliated that Jake was mentioning. So you said that you received names from both parties for that group. How do the parties find those people if they're not part of their party? Does that?
Well, I would defer to them if they've got extra comments, but I know that some people are listed as unaffiliated but don't consider themselves truly unaffiliated.
So they have
Yeah.
some relationship to the party.
They have some relationship to the party, yes. And I think that when the party calls them, they are comfortable
Yep.
with the affiliation. Have you anything to add?
Yeah,
Liz,
I
on
mean,
that?
so Karen provided us a list of folks who were also like helpers last year during the election. A lot of those ended up being
Unaffiliated.
unaffiliated folks. But we had our precinct leaders call them as well and see if they'd be interested. I then went and looked at their voting history to see what primary ballot they had pulled. And if you're pulling majority Democrat, I can assume you're a safe Democrat for our side.
Uh-huh. Okay, thanks.
Same thing, probably. You know the people that have worked for you in the past who
Mhm.
are unaffiliated. So.
It's good. I worry about the unaffiliated not being able to participate in the voting process, so this is really good to hear.
No, I think that there's always been a fair representation across all three groups
Yeah.
in our teams that are set up. So, any further questions for Karen? Okay. I'll ask for a motion to,
I move approval of the staff recommendation for Blount County election judges for the 2-year term from August 2025 through July 2027.
may I have a second, please?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
would ask if you don't mind if I could get one of them signed.
Do you have one? I'll sign yours, thank you.
On the second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Signed by all.
The first page, yes, the first page. Next is voter challenge.
So the next item of business are voter challenges. So Maggie?
Yes, so our office received 10 voter challenges. And the reason for the challenge is that these voters are deceased. And so the purpose of today would be for this board to review the forms that were completed and turned in. This is the voter challenge forms. Make sure that they were completed correctly, and everything is properly filled or filed. And then the other action that the board would need to take is there probable cause that this voter should not be registered? If you all determine that there is good cause, then we would then move to a full hearing with the board. And we're recommending that if you all decide to have a full hearing, evidentiary hearing, that would happen on September the 4th. We are mandated to notify not only, we are going to notify the challenge voters. Yes, that's what we have to do. We will also notify the party chairs and the challenger. So that is what we're required to do. But again, today would be for you all to look at the form, look at the attached evidence that was provided. AK has that. and then you all can decide whether, one, was it filed and completed correctly, and two, is there probable cause for us to move to a full evidentiary hearing with what we got, so. Okay.
So Jake, I may ask your guidance in this,
Uh-oh.
please. Don't be afraid.
I'll do what I can.
I'll only take it in cautionary.
Okay.
So one voter challenge at a time. Do we circulate them to each of the board members? And then we discuss, or do you lead us through that process, Maggie?
I can do
you
it,
wanna
or it
present
doesn't matter.
Why don't you do that, and then we'll start with each one, and then
Okay.
we'll share.
Have these voters been notified?
No, they have not.
Okay, so they, only after,
Only after.
only if we
Yeah,
proceed to a
correct.
formal
Right,
hearing?
we did, notify the challenger,
Okay, okay.
and.
No, the reason I
I
asked it,
believe they're here today.
Glenda, we have this every election
Yes, sir.
because there are people who vote early or absentee by mail and then pass away before election day, and we end up having to pull their ballots. And the reason I asked if these folks have been notified is the process we use then is, we've notified these folks that we're pulling your ballot because we think that you're no longer alive. And so I ask, hey, are you here? Because if they're here, then I know they're still alive and we can actually count their ballot.
See what I mean about being cautionary?
But we don't have that option this time. It won't be until next time
Right.
that we would be able to
right, at the-
call that roll. Okay.
Yes, so they will be notified for the next meeting, the time, the date, the place.
Cool.
And then, of course, if they are in fact still living, then they would be here and they can also speak, or a representative could also do
Right,
that as well.
right, right,
Yeah.
right.
Could a family member speak for them?
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah, because
Yes.
they could be
If they're
in a hospital
deceased,
or
the
something.
family member would certainly,
We'll certainly be able
Attest
to
to
give
that.
us that, attest to that, absolutely, yeah.
But if they're not deceased, but they still can't come in, they can have
Family
an
member.
agent
Have
come in
somebody
and
come
say,
in.
hey, Mom is still with us. Count her vote. So, it's a really robust process. It's great.
is it a mailing that goes to their home?
Correct, the last known
And if the home has
address.
been sold after their death, then nobody would get the mailing.
It would come back to us.
It would come back to
back
back as
Then there's
undeliverable.
further investigation after
Yes.
that.
And we would then let you all know, hey, we mailed and came back as undeliverable, yeah. Okay, so we do have 10 here, so I'm just gonna, say who they are and start passing them around. The first one is, Golda Tillery Cox, and the form is up top, and then behind that is the evidence that was provided by the challenger. Then there is Mary June Christensen. Again, the form is up top and the evidence attached. Sue Haney. Wesley James Masterjohn. Pauline Casada. Betty Jean Wilson Cobble. Ruth Crook Smith. Next one. Rachel Page Carnes. W.C. Hensley Jr. Eugene Raymond Miller. And that is it. That's the last of the 10. Okay, these are in order. Thank you.
There's a cause of death on this one, so that means there is a death certificate?
Correct, and
Yeah,
it should be
There's
attached.
the death certificate.
It's
is
attached.
That is the
Yes.
death
There.
certificate.
On all of them.
There should be there.
Well, then why would they not be considered dead?
Well, it's just the law.
We have to go through
We
the
have to go
process.
through
Yes,
Yes.
it's process.
By mandate.
Yes.
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 And I'm I
State
can give an
statute.
overview of how list maintenance works.
There could be
Yeah.
bureaucratic error.
Yeah, it could be an
They
error.
could be.
There could be there could be a clerical error that ended up putting somebody on a list for the.
Yeah.
It need to be, yeah.
We want to give the voter every opportunity to count.
But I'm happy to, after you all review that, just to give you a high level, overview of how it is that we handle, the reports that we receive on someone who has passed away.
That'd be good.
Well, there has to be a process.
Absolutely, yes,
Absolutely.
yes. There sure is.
Congestive heart failure. a lot. So here's a blank certificate, just there's nothing on it. That one's blank.
Oh, no, it's all typed in, and they just didn't do it by hand.
Oh,
all
it's
typed
teeny
in.
tiny.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's all
okay.
there, it's all there.
Good, okay.
Good eye, though.
Oh, I'm not on here.
I hope I live to be as old as they all are.
I don't know. Depends on what.
Maggie, what is our usual procedure
Okay.
for removing deceased voters?
Right. So removing deceased voter is part of our list maintenance process. That's just one of the many reports that we use to keep our rolls, up to date. So we receive 2 lists that are compiled by the Department of Health and Human Services. One of the first lists is a voter that reflects persons who may have died and their last place of residence was in North Carolina. The next one reflects all persons who have died or deceased person have died, and we have a state board match with a registered voter in the county. Okay, and so we receive those lists. In addition to that, we are also permitted to receive official death notifications from the Register of Deeds. So we have a third list that we work as well. Now, so this is something, and Amy does this every week. She looks at these lists. They were previously several months behind. They've gotten better since 2022. But so she looks at these lists on a weekly basis, right, Amy? Yep. And then during early voting, we look at this list every day. So
Yeah.
that's just some, process. Okay. So she'll look at this list. Now, it is our responsibility, the county boards cannot remove someone from the rolls unless there's an exact database match. So we're looking at the voter's name, we're looking at their date of birth, and or any other identifying information. We can also take a report from a near relative. We have a form that a near relative can complete and return to us, verifying that that person has deceased. So that is also a fourth way of removing a voter as well. If we do not have an exact match, our practice is to act in the best light of the voter. We don't want to remove a person who's living. And so we're going to act in what is the best interest of the voter. And so that's what we do on a weekly basis. We look at those reports. We look see if we have matches. We look to make sure that they're exact matches, and then we remove those voters. Now, something else that list maintenance does also is that if people don't have contact with us or haven't voted, we put them on the inactive list. And after 2 federal elections, those folks will eventually fall off the list. But it takes time. It's not a quick process. Again, it takes, several cycles for that to actually happen. So there's several levels or layers of processes that we have in order to hopefully keep our rolls up to date. Some are faster, some are take longer, but they are there for that purpose. So that's what we do. And we are hoping to get additional clarification from the state board, maybe a little bit more guidance. When we do have a mismatch, what can we do? We are not allowed to use third-party lists. We're not allowed to go out and look for obituaries, Facebook posts, whatever, so-and-so, and then compare it to our roles. That's not our role. That's not what we do. We base it on the reports that we get, so it's a standard procedure across the state. We don't make up our own rules, So that's essentially the process, and I believe you all were also given this list maintenance manual that we have to follow, and so that's what we do.
A follow-up on that, these, from what I saw, all of these were 2019, 2020, 2022. Are we considering these must have been mismatches?
Yes. We're some way or another.
Some way, because obviously they were local, so.
Yeah.
And my follow-up question to that was, because, we've got a lot of these, person passed away in 2019, 2020.
Right.
Any of these folks vote since they passed away?
No.
Good.
You actually checked that?
Yes.
Good.
Hey,
That was gonna be my next,
well, I mean, that's why we're concerned. We do
Right.
not want people
Absolutely.
casting invalid ballots. And so
Absolutely.
It's reassuring.
And
Thank you.
the voter lookup tool that we have, you can look these voters up, and you can look at their voter history, and you can see when they last voted. So that's another way to compare, and then we can see when they passed, when they last voted, and we can confirm that.
So what we probably need is just better guidance from the state.
Correct. I feel like that would probably clean some of this up if, and kind of fill in that gap. But then again, that person, we don't have any contact with them, they don't vote, and then we start that cycle of, 2 federal elections. They get put in an inactive status, and then eventually they gradually start falling off the lists. But it's not something that happens overnight. It's just going to take some time. And so that's,
I have another follow-up question about the ones that don't have the match. Is that, do you all maintain a list of those that didn't have the exact match?
So we keep a copy of the reports, and we have those that we can compare to and look at. But we look if it's not an exact match. If the date of birth don't quite match, the birth year might be wrong. The date of
Right.
the name doesn't match, or
Right.
and that happens sometimes with people using maiden names, middle
Sure.
names
Sure.
versus their first name, initials versus and so.
And that's the end of our
And that's the end of that.
investigation
We're
at
not
that
gonna then go and look up death certificates and all that kind of stuff. We just don't. We say, we can confidently say there was some type of mismatch. We're gonna err
Right.
in the voters, to their benefit, and we're gonna leave them alone. And then what we hope is that then they'll get in the cycle of the list maintenance.
Exactly,
And
fall
then,
off
and they
on the
fall
other
off,
things.
right, as no activity is happening through the several years.
According to the law, I believe that every week is when that you get the, you're supposed to look at it. and-
Correct.
and-
We get a
and-
list weekly.
All right, weekly.
Weekly, yep.
Does that happen?
Yes,
Okay, so that process works.
yes.
The second piece of that, what you were talking about during the actual election time, that you're looking at it every day.
Correct.
Is that a Buncombe County policy versus a state policy?
It's a state policy.
Thank
We
you.
need to be checking on a weekly basis.
No, but during the
I'm sorry,
daily-
a daily basis, yes.
Okay.
That is a state
Okay.
policy, yeah.
And
Yeah.
we do actually start that during absentee.
Yeah, sorry, yeah. Even further than that, yeah, absentee.
Okay.
Once we start voting absentee by mail,
Then
that's
it's
when
every day.
we're starting to check daily. Thank you, Amy. We do go back further and then, of course, during those early voting times, yep. And then we bring those challenges to you all during Canvas Week.
Any other questions about these 10?
No.
So, does it require a motion to move it from preliminary hearing to evidentiary?
The minutes I looked at, last time there was a challenge, y'all did do a motion to proceed with the full challenge.
Should proceed. All right, so may I have a motion from the board, please, to proceed with the full hearing?
I so move.
Thanks.
I'll second.
And second, Mary Ann. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. We will move these forward.
Okay, so we will hear these at our next board meeting, which is on the 4th of September, and we will notify all parties involved and everyone that's required to get notification. That will go out tomorrow morning. Okay?
And I wasn't looking up, all 5 of you said yes.
Yes.
Sure.
Okay.
Yay.
Our final topic on the agenda is to discuss legal counsel. And the board has been submitted 2 subsequent proposals. I believe, Mr. Quinn, if you would please, the Colin Shive proposal, do you have that available for us
I've got
to,
one.
discuss as well? As is customary for me, is to get 3 bids, 3 proposals from 3 different outside counsel, legal counsel, for all of the board to consider. Those proposals have been submitted to each of the board members, and we will discuss
You have it, Jack?
each of those groups
Okay.
and
So-
particular experiences, resumes, those kinds of things, and for the board to discuss and share questions, concerns, and then at the board's pleasure, we'll decide how we move forward with what we've been presented. If we choose not to move forward with any of this particular group, then we will ask for new proposals and go to the next grouping. So I will open the floor to any discussion that you'd like to start with. If there's a particular firm that you would like to discuss first, we can certainly do that. We can start anywhere you would like.
Start with the first one we got.
Yeah, let's
maybe.
start with
Oh,
Colin
okay.
Shive then.
We received, we received a response, an engagement response from Tharrington Smith LLP, and they are in Charlotte. The attorney who responded is Colin Shive. Mr. Shive helped this board back in 2019 when there were questions about the Asheville municipal elections. The General Assembly had passed a bill that made the elections district. I think there were 7 districts in the city. I can't remember exactly. Maybe it was 5. And the city council subsequently passed an ordinance that changed the elections back to at-large. And the question before this board was, which model is going to apply here? The thing that was approved by the General Assembly or the thing that was subsequently approved by the city council? And Tharrington Smith, Mr. Shive, helped us come to the conclusion that you just use what's the law that is on the books today, and that was the Asheville City changing it back to at-large. It was fairly simple. Mr. Shive and his firm provided a written legal opinion. I think the total charge was $2,500 for the engagement, but I have to confess that I don't know the exact number. And we were very satisfied. The State Board of Elections asked our board to submit to the state basically our findings on how we were proceeding with this election. And we included that legal opinion, and the state didn't have any issue with it, so everything worked smoothly.
May I ask, do you know the breakout of the individual rates? Or did they bill us according to just
Yeah,
the
well,
project itself?
There's only one person in the law firm who would work on it, and that is Mr. Shive. Mr. Shive's time is billed at $285 per hour, and they bill, every 6 minutes, every
So
tenth of
that's
an
what
hour.
it was in 19 as well? Same rate?
I'm looking at the 2025 proposal. Let's see. I happen to have the 2019 file here. I got to see what the number is.
And again, how much was per
but-
hour versus, yeah?
Well, it was $285 per hour, and I asked Mr. Shive about other expenses, like travel, that kind of thing. And Mr. Shive was of the opinion that the work that he would do would be accomplished remotely, and that he would mail us, email us, fax us, have video conferences with us, but didn't really see the need to come to Asheville to do any of this work. We might feel differently if we thought that we needed some help at a negotiating table, but that did not come up. What else?
So your experience was positive?
Oh, it was very positive, and I think that view was shared by my colleagues at the time, Mr. Watson, Mr. Duncan, who else was on the board? Ms. Block and Ms. Newman would have all been on the board back then. And we just didn't have a problem. Going into it, I mean, we asked the state for a legal opinion, didn't get one. They said, ask your county attorney. We asked the county attorney for one, we didn't get one. So we had to go outside to get one, because there was a difference of opinion from within the board. And everything was resolved actually very quickly and pretty easily. So very, very grateful for that.
Do you remember how you found that firm to begin with?
Yes, I do. The firm was recommended to me by a gentleman by the name of John Noor, who practices law in Asheville and has a lot of familiarity with doing this kind of stuff. I know recently he was representing folks out in Woodfin, I think, Woodfin or Weaverville. There was some development proposal. and
Dr.
he was-
Shive was? I mean,
and he was trying to help
Shive was?
the
Or Noor?
No, Mr. Noor.
The person that
Yeah.
recommended
Right,
Shive.
who
That's what I
recommended. I'm sorry, I am looking through this whole thing, and I don't see any numbers associated with Mr. Shive's proposal. Darn it, I thought I had it all. Clearly, I do not. I would have expected, maybe around 250 or
Yes.
something like that.
A little bit of
Wouldn't have been a
raise,
huge
yeah,
difference.
Sure. Okay.
All right, so following that, because we had that history with that particular firm, we considered them as one of our 3 proposals. And then I sent out requests to the firm of Allen, Stahl, and Kilborn and asked for their proposal, and also for T. Campbell for a proposal. Brandon Freeman with Allen, Stahl, and Kilburn would represent or be the lawyer with that particular firm that would be recommended to advise and work with our board. Significant experience, is a local attorney, is able to, I think from a familiarity perspective, be able to work with us on local Buncombe and Asheville issues that could arise. But also comes recommended with the background and the experience to do board work, and in particular, working with boards of elections. So their fees are different than Mr. Shive's, $3.75 per hour, and then the secondary rate,
That'd be a partner.
For Brandon Freeman.
yeah,
$3.25
$3.75,
for
$3.25 for Brandon.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the other firm, T. Campbell, also came recommended, both as a firm that works with many boards across the state, but
Yeah.
has an attorney here locally. His name is Matt Mason, and Deborah Bechtold is the partner with whom Matt works. But Matt has significant county experience, is here locally, and again, has extensive board and the background of not necessarily just Board of Elections, but county and governmental issues and boards that work independently like the Board of Elections does. So their rates are $285, $250, and then if we needed paralegal work, $125. I have spoken with both firms, and they are willing to work with us as a board. We're happy to submit a proposal to us. And I think from the resumes and their proposals and the documents that you've seen, certainly have the background and the experience to work with us and to help us address concerns as they arise for this board. So I would now open the floor to further discussion of all three groups. Questions, concerns, opinions, thoughts.
Well, Mr. Shive has helped in the past, and when Mr. Freeman was on the staff of the legal department here in Buncombe County, he helped me when I was a witness in a voting rights case. I was serving on the Board of Elections at the time, and considering I was viewed as a county employee, legal department wanted me to have a little help before I went and got deposed. And he was great. Mr. Freeman was knowledgeable and very affable. So I enjoyed working with him.
You're talking about Freeman?
Yeah, yeah. I have no familiarity with the other gentleman.
I would also share that Bo Carpenter, one of the managing partners of the firm, was a former member of our board.
Yes, he was.
And
So-
he's in town,
And
which I think
they're in town, and
is a
Matt
big
Mason
plus.
is also in town.
They're right,
Yeah,
right
they're
over.
right here.
Right over
Here.
here.
Yeah.
And
this corner.
Bo sat in the chair where Sally
Where
is sitting
Sally
right
is.
now.
So experience, obviously with the Board of Elections.
And
obviously
county.
with county representation, but Brandon came highly recommended by Bo. But also Matt did as well. I just cannot, I know Bo from previous experience on our board, but I don't know Matt personally. I've spoken to him a couple of different times. I've spoken with his managing partner. I think he's quite competent. I think probably the most attractive piece is when you look at cost, but that's
Yeah.
not the reason you hire an attorney. You hire them for their expertise and the benefit of what they bring to our discussions.
I have two
Yes, ma'am.
comments. Allen Stahl, Kilburn, they alternately said they would consider a flat fee.
Yes.
But there's no, we would have to discuss with them what that would be. And not knowing, I mean, right now, we don't know the extent
Right.
of what we might get involved in here, so that might be a good alternative. But then we would also have to ask Teague and Campbell
Right.
and Shive. I don't think Shive would be interested in that because he's out of town. Yeah, I don't know, maybe he
Yeah,
would.
yeah, who knows? Who knows?
The other thing is, Teague and Campbell, for Mr. Mason, gave us the opportunity to call for references to the Guilford County Board of Elections and the Elections Director. And I would submit that maybe we should actually call them. People give you references, it would be a good idea to call them.
Sure.
If you've ever had an employee or possible employee give you a reference, you call them and you find out sometimes they just thought you weren't going to call. So that might give us more input, and at the same time, we could ask them if they would consider a flat fee, monthly charge, and what that would be. Just,
I can certainly go back to Brandon or to Bo or both and ask if we had a particular project, depending on the issue, could we work by determining a flat fee or like
well,
Colin did
they were talking
previously.
a flat fee monthly is what Bo
Oh.
put in here, which would, it would be a retainer, I get that, but that, depending on the scope of what we might be dealing with, that might be better, I'm not sure.
Sure.
I'd just like to see what that amount might be before we commit one way or the other.
I guess my thought on that is that because this is sort of new to the existing budget and the dollars,
Oh, yeah.
one of the questions I had asked staff was to come back with us to the possibility of what our budget might look like moving forward, so that we'd have at least a gauge, because we do, I think we know as a board some potential opportunities for need moving forward, and so I just wanted to
Sometimes it's hard to deal with a flat fee and you just don't know what it's going to be.
Yes, ma'am.
And you don't know how involved things are going to get.
Sure.
I would prefer myself, as a board member, just to do an hourly rate.
Okay.
And Bo Carpenter and Mr. Freeman both have great experience with county government and with Board of Elections. And on the other hand, so does Matt.
Yeah.
He has great experience, and Deborah do too. So I would really like to meet them before I vote, but I don't know if that's going to be possible.
So, I think that, I'm gonna make a statement that I may get eyeballed from the corner, but I think that we could, I know that you can have, closed session to seek legal advice. So we could go into closed session and meet with each of them separately in order for us to garner the information that we need and do that type of interview, for lack of a better word, and then come back and share back with the public. I think it's hard for them to come publicly, but because of their other clients and other negotiations and things like that go on with attorneys. So
I wish I knew the attorneys, that's all I'm saying. It's
Yeah.
just easier to deal with people that you know,
Yes,
that
ma'am.
you seem to have an affinity with.
Sure.
But I'm sure they're all wonderful, because you all have recommended them, but
Well, I
Well,
tried to do my due diligence.
I do like the
You did.
idea of
You did a
having
great
somebody
job.
local, just because we can meet with them.
Yeah,
Right.
the downside of local legal representation is we work for Buncombe County. And very often, attorneys will be worried about potential conflicts of interest because Buncombe County is a big entity with a whole lot of legal issues that are waged on different fronts. So sometimes it's hard to find local folks. So I'm impressed that you got a couple local firms. Just so you
I did
know.
ask that question, though, just so you know, because they're not, conflict of interest is huge.
Yes.
And I don't think either firm would have submitted a proposal had they not done their due diligence to make sure there was no
Yeah.
conflicts of interest.
Yeah, in 19, we did go out of town intentionally.
Sure.
I mean, for the reasons that I was just talking about. I did get a kick out of the one proposal, and it must not be the one from Bo's firm. What, Mr. Mason was the,
Matt Mason.
because they mentioned Guilford County.
Yeah.
Well, I invoked Guilford County, Gilbert versus Guilford County, when we went to the county commissioners with questions about the director's salary here.
Correct.
And I'm really curious to know if they worked anything on that case. The case is, what, 11 years old now.
Well,
But,
we have names to call.
yeah, that intrigued me. I saw that today, and it's like, oh, wow, I wonder. There's folks that I know who worked on that case, but I don't know these guys, so I'm just kind of curious.
I think it's worth finding out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I know a couple phone calls I can make and find
Right.
out specifics about that case.
And also, Jake, I was thinking about for you, do you know the potential board members, or do we know the EDs in those counties that could give us a little background about how?
Well, we got the numbers.
So it's back to making sure we do our
Yeah.
our homework. I kind of like the idea of the Teague Campbell for two reasons. One is, or three maybe. One is that they've had such strong history working with the actual boards of elections in
Yeah.
two different counties. We got a little guy with Catawba, a littler guy, and then we have this big guy with Guilford. And I think that having that kind of experience working with those two counties and boards of election really is important. Second thing is, does cost us a little bit more, a little less. And the third thing is, I worry a little bit about, and maybe I shouldn't, about the conflict of interest with the Bo Carpenter and Brandon Freeman, especially Brandon, who has been an employee of Buncombe, of the county of Buncombe. And is that a little too close to home for the work that he's done? So that was just a question I had. It's a small town in a lot of ways. People know each other. They talk to each other.
It's more than a little ways.
Yeah, it is.
Sometimes it's good to know people in the county.
And that's the other
though,
side of it.
Because
That's
they have
right.
ends that most people wouldn't have.
Absolutely. It can go
Yeah.
both ways.
And anyway, an attorney is an attorney. He's going to have a strong personality, and he's going to do his job,
We would hope.
if we get the right person.
Right, we would hope.
Marianne?
Yeah, I would suggest that we allow our chair to call Guilford County, both numbers,
Okay.
get a report back on exactly what they say about this attorney having worked for them.
Okay.
And
And the nature of their work.
yeah, I would still like to find out. I'm kind of like you. I kind of prefer an hourly rate, but I'm just curious. What would a flat rate look like? What would that cover? And then maybe we could even possibly set at our next board meeting, see if they could come in near the end of the meeting, and we go into closed session and just ask them the questions that everybody has for
Okay,
attorneys.
the challenge with a fixed rate contract is that it puts a very heavy burden on this board to do an excellent job outlining the scope of work. Because the only way you can confidently submit a bid
Right.
is to know exactly what it is you're supposed to be working on.
I see your point. Well,
And I'm feeling a little squishy about exactly what we're going to have lawyer working on.
well, this says alternatively a flat rate amount monthly. It's like a monthly.
Monthly
thing.
scarcity. Monthly sounds like retainer. I don't want to do a retainer with anybody.
Well, I will.
But we need to figure out, really and truly, the five of us need to, and we need staff at the table for this discussion. We need to create that scope of work. We need to give something fairly specific, I think, to whoever, especially if we're asking them to refine proposals or bids. I say, well, they should be asking us, well, what exactly
you
is
need?
it that you want us to do?
Sure.
And does it include negotiating? Because that's expensive stuff. And it takes a lot of time. So I think that we need to I need to have more clear in my mind exactly what we're going to be asking this individual to do. When we did the thing with Mr. Shive and his firm 6 years ago,
That was so.
it was so narrow. It
Yeah.
was so easy.
Yeah.
Whereas here, we're talking about, we want to develop a new memorandum of understanding with the county. And I'm really grateful that all three firms have serious experience in that regard.
Yeah.
they can probably help us with the scope of work. Just if we do have folks in here and talk to them,
If we do an
them.
interview, we might be able to help
Exactly,
get them to help us
exactly.
refine that.
But I love fixed rate contracts, except they're real risky.
Yeah,
And once you start add something that was not in the original scope of work,
yeah.
then you've got contract modifications,
Well,
and
we have-
they
we-
get
we-
real
we have
expensive.
we already have hourly rates, so.
Well,
Okay.
here's what I
Okay.
can do.
Yep.
I can call and check the references for Matt. I can call and just ask Bo and Brandon, if we did this, what does this look like? And how encompassing is it? And when do you start to edge out of that and expect more money, just so we have it? And then we have our next date of the meeting, and I can ask them if they're able to attend, and share with us as a board at the end of the meeting.
There's always the
Well,
possibility.
you could always do
of-
one at the beginning and one at the end.
I'm thinking.
Yeah, you don't want them in there at the same
Yeah,
time.
no, not together.
What if we do, what if we
There's
do the
also
beginning
the
of the meeting
possibility-
because for their sake of their time?
Oh, for their time?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, so invite,
Glenda,
yes, ma'am.
there's also the possibility that we could put them on a flat fee later if we felt like
Well,
we
that's-
needed
We knew
that.
what the scope was, right?
And I don't think anything is written in stone, so you could change it if you wanted to. But right now, I don't think we know the scope of the work we
No.
want an attorney to
That's
do.
true, we
And I
don't.
don't
Well-
think it would be wise.
And I tried to share kind of broadly,
Yeah.
without saying too much. I can use the reference of an MOU, but I can't go into detail at this point in the conversation. So, I think Sally made a very, very good point. We'll invite him to the beginning of the meeting for the being cognizant of their time. Let them come in individually, maybe 15 minutes apart and leave. And then we can conduct the rest of our business following that.
So
if every-
we would be opening the meeting as closed session?
Yes, ma'am, we would go
Okay.
into closed session at the beginning of the meeting.
Okay.
And I will follow up with this information. I will send it out to you as soon as I have it, so that you can review it prior to the meeting and prior to the interview.
Could we do the closed part at 3 instead of 3:30 so that the public still knows to be here at
At
3:30?
3:30?
I don't know.
Does that work for the board and for staff?
I'm easy.
It works for me. My only concern would be, is the conversation going to be longer than 15 minutes each? I mean,
Yes,
there's,
I think we have some responsibility to make it 15 minutes each. I mean,
So I'm gonna do,
And
I'll
again,
attempt
their
to do
time.
3 o'clock and 3:15.
okay.
What
And
day
then-
is this? Which day?
Thursday, September
Thursday the
September
4th.
4th.
The next meeting.
Next meeting.
I think it's important that before that meeting, we have a set of questions, that we develop a set of questions that we're going to ask
Right.
these firms.
and that they're the same.
Yeah, you want them
Yes.
uniform.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I would ask that you all think about that and
Yeah.
the questions that are important to you, and submit them so that we can collate everything, send them back out for everybody's review, and then we can
Sounds good.
we can consolidate it down to the 15 minutes and the most important things that we believe are the most important to determine at this point.
I can assess somebody in 10 minutes. I don't have to have a whole lot of questions. I just like to see people personally.
Yeah.
I think that's important. Yeah.
All right, so we're all good with the next steps for how we move forward with reviewing the two groups of attorneys that are local at this point. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay.
I have a clarifying question.
Yes, ma'am.
So you're changing the meeting time, because you still have to open the meeting publicly,
Right.
even if you're gonna immediately turn around and go into closed session.
Oh, right.
So you're changing the meeting time to 3 with the expectation that you'll open, close, and then you'll, even if you end at like 3:15, let's say you only have 5 minutes with each of them, you go really quick, you'll wait
Until
till
3:30, yeah.
Like,
Because the public is
public
already
is
typically aware
expecting to be
of that meeting time. Is that everybody in agreement
Yes.
with that? All right. Next meeting date is obviously, as we just shared, Thursday, September 4th. The meeting time for the generally scheduled Board of Elections meeting will be 3:30. We will start the meeting at 3 o'clock and immediately go into closed session to interview the 2 attorney firms that we've discussed today. Do I hear any further business, old or new, from the board? Staff? Hearing none?
Oh, sorry.
Oh.
One more thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it yours gonna be, I just remembered the minutes, we said we were gonna go back.
Go back
Oh,
to,
yeah.
Thank you.
back
I
to the
didn't know what
minutes.
Nebby's was.
Well, mine was money.
How much we
Why don't
have.
we postpone the minutes till the
Let's-
next meeting?
All in favor of postponing the minutes approval to the next meeting, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Okay.
Minutes are in.
I just want to quickly add that last.
I think there was a nay. It's not a unanimous vote.
No, I just want to quickly add that last week we, Victoria, who does our budget, looked at all, because I think there was some question about, what do we have to work with right now as far as
Right.
budget-wise for this. And she has found, we have right now, we can work with $4,000.
Okay.
I know that's not a lot, but.
Well, there's contingency available too. from
Right,
the county.
there is contingency, but also we do feel like we can assess better after the primary once we have, because our costs are really low right now. We haven't had an election, so it's still, some things are up in the air. But, that was a very quick review of the budget, what we've spent so far, what we've got going on, and right now, that's what they found.
That's great, thank you.
So, but
But-
that 4,000 is available for what?
For legal, that could be
For attorney.
for attorneys, for legal counsel.
What happened to the 20,000 one?
That
It's
was-
in contingency.
it was put in contingency.
There's no line item.
Yeah.
So we got 24,000.
All right.
Contingency by Buncombe
Hearing
County.
no further
Buncombe
business, could I have a motion